2, 1.
Howdy, Patrick.
Hey, here we are again.
Good to see you, comrade. What's new? What's shaking?
Well, we got a good lineup today. I
That's what you
rounded up
say
some
every
old
time,
friends.
and it's true
It's
every time.
always true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What'd you find out in the news today?
Whew, boy, there's some wild stuff in the news. First up, of course, the trial of Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis over the death of George Floyd, a death that we have entirely on camera, and so the trial is just going to with the defense arguing that that death needed to happen, which is it's that old saying of when you're black and killed by the police, you die twice. First, the physical death, and then again when they defend their right to destroy you, which is a bleak truth. But we'll be watching that real close. There's also the rampant voter suppression going on down in the South and especially in Georgia, which is another step in the long struggle for all working people, but especially Black and Indigenous people for the right to vote in this country. A long-standing struggle that is continuing to this day, and it goes to show that the vote is powerful one way or another, because if it wasn't powerful, conservatives and fascist-friendly political forces wouldn't be fighting so hard to prevent working people from doing it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, as we've seen in Minneapolis, in Los Angeles with the sweep of Echo Park, which was a autonomous village of unhoused people that got fenced in overnight and turned into basically an open air prison before it was crushed by the police. Now, these places are democratic strongholds, and even there we find fascist forces at play. So it goes to show that there's limits to electoralism. But on this other side of that coin, they wouldn't be fighting for us to stop voting if the vote wasn't worth something. And the Black struggle for liberation has always involved the right to vote, from the present to the civil rights movement to Reconstruction and before. The right to vote has been integral to the civil rights movement, and the anti-fascist movement must be intertwined with the struggle for Black liberation. And so there's kind of it's a needle to thread right there, recognizing the limits of the vote, but also its importance. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in the news that are directly tied into the struggle for all of us to be free and have our interests and concerns represented in the halls of power. But that's just I'm not a journalist. I'm just a guy who wears a jumpsuit and plays banjo. So anybody who is listening in, watching, I encourage you to go check out these stories yourselves, find the truth, and talk to your comrades and your other working class community, and organize and try to figure out what to do to make your voices heard.
Well, do you think the Dems are going to do something about the filibuster so they can get the Voting Rights Act passed?
Yeah, there's that Voting Rights Act. We the People, I believe it's called, the We the People Act.
Something like that.
I hope so. The filibuster is a complete piece of bullshit parliamentary process that should never been integrated into any kind of democratic governance. But I mean, who knows what the Democrats are going to do? Sometimes it seems like they're on their way to doing something approximate to the right thing, and then they'll switch around right at the last minute. But I'm doubtful, but I won't say it's impossible.
That's about where I am.
It's
Well,
hard to be an optimist in this world, I gotta say.
well, it's hard to be an optimist with two bourgeois parties in power.
Hmm.
But there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Um, well, we'll see what the Democrats do. It looks like the Republicans are going to be pretty entrenched in
Yeah.
getting this voter legislation suppression BS passed, and it doesn't look like they're willing to give up. The It does expose the blatant racism, which has been there all along, and now they're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
There's as much as saying, we got to do this. We have to suppress the black vote, or we can't win an election. So let's do it. We're not racist. We just want power.
It's beyond parody sometimes.
Well, maybe that's enough of that. We should maybe get into our program a little bit.
Yeah. We could wax on political for a long time, but
You
we
and
got
I
some
could
great
wax,
artists to show off.
you and I could wax till moonrise.
Oh,
Um,
before
but
we introduce our first artists, I've been bad about this in previous streams, so I want to get right off the ground saying it. If if you've got some extra dollars jangling around in your pockets and you'd like to support radical artists such as we've got here today, we've got a PayPal. It's paypal.me/Aaron J. Shea. I'm collecting tips and giving them all back to the artists and speakers that we've got on our program today. So if not everybody's doing so hot these days with the economy in shambles, but if you want to support weirdos like us, that's where your link is to do it. All right, we did the monetizing thing. I just had to get that out of the gate.
Everybody's got a plug.
Everybody's got a plug.
Hey, money makes the world go around, unfortunately.
Yep.
But we managed to go around with very little.
Yeah, we've been kicking around. This is our 9th show. We've and our 10th looks to be our last. We've been managing with zero budget, but we've been able to support our artists all the way through, which we really appreciate the audience for doing, and also kicking in a bit of our own personal money as well, just because me and Patrick are passionate about getting these voices out there and bringing this community together. All right, Patrick.
That's the first time I donated to a cause.
So, Patrick, our first artists are Carolyn Keys and Nate Beal. What can you tell me about these folks? This whole cast is new to me.
A little bit. On Memorial Day, around then, we have hopefully 3 or 4 gig little tourette in Montana, where Nate and Beal operate from. And they're going to be my my backup band. So
that's awesome.
We're going to show up a little early and do a little rehearsal. This is what I heard. They're the best country artists in Western Montana by far.
That's no small feat.
I heard it and I believe it's true. I'm hoping it's true because I can always use a good backup band.
Here.
There's more going on with Nate and Caroline. impressive stuff. First, about their music, they come to you from the visit in Salish land, known in English-speaking circles as Montana. And they do country music. And they do country music kind of like if Tammy Wynette wore sports sandals, and if George Jones dabbled in psychedelics, and if Dolly Parton was a little shy, and if Dwight Yoakam wore cargo shorts.
Quite an image, all of those.
Then you get a bead on who they are. There's more. Carolyn teaches poetry to kids on the Flathead Reservation.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. And she volunteers at the Tamarack Grief Resource Center. You know, all those trees on the Montana hills are tamaracks. I don't know if people know that or not, but tamaracks are the evergreens that lose their needles in the fall.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and that they're all over Montana, and so that's where that name comes from. And she also teaches poetry in the Missoula County Jail as soon as things open up and she can get back in there. And Nate is not only a screamingly fabulous musician and vocalist, but he makes widely viewed science and educational videos that provide no-cost access to psychology, biochemistry, physics, and astronomy. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Nate is clearly a brainiac. Or
a couple of nerds after my own heart.
I didn't read that sentence, much less figure out what it means. And so this couple is really multi-talented, and they're going to give us some good country shit.
All right, let's get them on screen.
Yeah. Nate and
hi.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Hey, take as much time as you need, you guys.
Okay.
If you go a few minutes extra, I'm not gonna turn you off.
Oh wow.
Okay, so do
I have severe time blindness, so
yeah.
Do what you do.
All right.
Take it all the way into the barn.
Yeah,
Okay.
take it away.
okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Daddy hates Spurs, swears every time he sees it. Said there's so much around now, he just can't believe it. He just doesn't understand the disrespect for the land. You can tell right away who's in the wrong hands. And I hate money, digging roots into doubt, moves into people's lives, chokes everything else out. Tell you can't do nothing, spread poison all around. Here come the bank man's truck, weed stuck in the chrome. You kids going out to the barn, leave the grown-ups alone. Building forts and houses, stacking bales of hay. By the end of the month we're in town looking for a place to stay. Both is soul, it's the blues of the sea. Back alleys, broken glass, choked up in napweed. Not a of alfalfa for lying on your bed. Old town full of oxide daisy, loose striped club flags. Mama hates neighbors, thinks the kids are all thugs. Daddy hates his job at the mill, hard hat and earplugs. I hate the cracked black top underneath my bag tires. Yeah, they all hate chain link fence and telephone wires. Oh, this soul is bruised with the sea. Back alley is a broken glass, choked up with napweed. Now a lick of alfalfa for lying on your back. Old town full of oxide daisy, blue striped toe flags. Daddy hates spurge, swears every time he sees it. Said there's so much around and now he just can't believe it. He just doesn't understand the disrespect for the land. You can tell when he talks that he thinks it's in the wrong hands. You can tell when he talks that he thinks it's in the wrong hands.
Nice, Nate.
Thanks. That's a song about, it's mostly about money.
Yeah, it's like class and noxious weeds. No song is about one thing, I guess, right? But yeah, class and noxious weeds, all there.
And getting kicked off a farm when you're a kid because they sold the farm. Hi everyone. It's weird to not have an audience. I have no idea whether or not we have an audience or not. We're gonna play a Woody Guthrie song. I'm gonna tell all you fascists, you may be surprised. People in this world, they're getting organized. You're bound to lose, you fascists are bound to lose. Race hatred cannot stop us. This one thing we know: your poll tax and your Jim Crow. Your greed has got to go. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. I'm going into this battle, gonna take my Union gun. We'll end this world of slavery before this battle's won. You're bound to lose, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to I'm gonna tell you fascists, you might be surprised. So they're getting organized. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Just like that.
Something like that, yeah. Nice.
Do you want to play?
You want the
Yeah.
that rockin' one?
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the biggest problems, I mean, there's, if you were here for the intro, there's lots going on. But one of the more localized problems that we are facing here in Western Montana is just a skyrocketing housing market in which, like, kind of everybody, kind of all of our peers' rents are getting raised beyond what people can afford, and rentals are getting sold, and people are finding it really hard to stay in this town. And I just read a news article just like half an hour ago about businesses not even being able to have employees stay because their apartments are getting sold. And the great indignity of that whole thing is that if you're in the service industry, the people that you have to serve are the people who are taking your house. So this is kind of a song I wrote for that situation, hand in hand with a pandemic where the people who are in the service industry are just like in the line of fire as well. So ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm so essential, why the fuck won't you pay me? Roll your own burrito, I gotta find a place to live. Yeah, if I'm so essential, why the fuck won't you pay me? You bought my apartment, I gotta find a place to live. Late nights I'm awake, trying not to speculate about bringing this death bug on. Super spreader pipeline, sinking across the state line, soon we're all gonna be overcome. And they stop paying us to stay home and keep the spread down. So I've gotta serve these strangers taking over our town. If I'm so essential, why the fuck won't you pay me? Roll your own burrito, I gotta find a place to live. Yeah, if I'm so essential, why the fuck won't you pay me? You bought my apartment, I've got no place to live. Yeah, if I'm so essential, why the fuck won't you pay me? Roll your own burrito, gotta find a place to live. Yeah, if I'm so essential, why the fuck won't you pay me? You bought my apartment, got no place to live. You bought my apartment, got no place to live. It's a pretty new song.
It's a new song. I just learned it.
Oh,
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are we playing next?
You want to play? Maybe I could read one of my students' poems.
Sure, let's do that.
Real quick while we figure out. Oh, I probably should get a different instrument. So, yeah, when I'm not playing music, I teach poetry on the Flathead Reservation to 4th and 5th graders. So middle school, well, in one place, middle school's 5th grade. And it's a beautiful thing to see, I don't know, just to see children figure out how important their stories are and their memories are, and how essential they are. And part of the program involves the kids sharing their poems, and I feel like there's just this beautiful network of support that is created when kids read the things that are important to them, and they haven't left any piece of themselves at the door, like where every part of themselves, I tell them that a poem can hold your anger and your joy and your jealousy and your crush and all these different things. And so it's beautiful. My residencies are 12 weeks long. We really get to know each other. We have real deep dives in those 3 months together. But anyway, this is a poem that one of my 4th graders wrote, and I just love this poem. This is one of the example poems I read on the first day to show the kids like how to use their 5 senses, and that their story is important. So this one goes like this. It's called Rock, Paper, Scissors. I remember when my little sister was being born. We had to stay in a really scary hospital that smelled like stinky clinic gloves and old, very, very old muffins getting eaten. And the cool part was watching people throw up on the hospital furniture. And the bad part was smelling it. But the beautiful part was seeing my little baby sister being born. And my little brother, sister, mom, dad, and me, we had to play rock, paper, scissors to see who could hold her first. And it was a racket, a really, really big racket. And at the end, we all fell asleep. Like literally, we were playing rock, paper, scissors until 12:21 a.m., the time I was born. Okay, so the 4th grade girl, that's the first poem she ever wrote. And it helps a lot of kids start to open up and, write their experience. So anyway, that's just, I just wanted to share that with y'all. I feel like helping people, I don't know, not just validate, but like elevating people's stories is important work to do in the world. And I work for an organization called the Missoula Writing Collaborative, and my residencies on the reservation are funded by the National Endowment for the Arts. So that's a great thing that is going on in the world.
And continues to go on, and like they got funding.
Yeah, and I've been able to teach online this whole time, so like I'm still reaching all the kids that I would have from this very living room where we are in Missoula. Okay, I'm gonna grab an instrument. Oh yeah, let's do. It might take me a second to tune. Maybe I'll let you talk. Sorry, we're talking a lot.
Well, now I'm on the spot, and I'm not sure what to say. We're really honored to be involved with this. Weekly. Is it weekly or monthly? Monthly, bi-weekly, Saturday afternoon fight against fascism.
Yeah.
Through art and through culture, and in a lot of cases through like a lot stronger activism than that too. We're gonna play a song that's maybe not directly addressing the theme, but maybe deeper in aesthetics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it addresses the theme of belonging, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Feeling not belonging. Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Slow your boat in the snow. When you get it to go, will say. Wonder when you used to be the terror of the sea. I'd believe it if you'd take me with you. Know your life is red. I'll clear the ice from your day. I'll work hard if you just take me with you. Saw your boat in the snow. When you get it, can go. I was hoping that you'd take me with you.
Nice. Snow. Cool. Fun. Oh, I also wanted to say that any cash that comes our way through this, we're going to give to the Montana BIPOC Mutual Aid Organization. They have been doing amazing work. I've only known about them for about a year, and I don't know, they may have existed for longer, but they have redistributed
Thousands.
like tens and not hundreds of thousands of dollars in our community to people who are in need, and that's been kind of an amazing, I don't know, just an amazing development that's again new to me in the last year or so, this concept of mutual aid. And I know it's probably well, it's been going on for millennia, but Venmo, I've only used Venmo for a year, so that's that.
Sure.
But I don't know if we should play one more. Is there a there's no person to tell us like, hey,
Aaron's
it's
right there in
time.
the chat.
Oh,
Aaron
Aaron's in
can
the
tell
chat.
us how
Weekly.
long we've
Oh
got.
gosh, weekly. One more is good.
One more
okay.
is good. All right, thanks, Aaron.
Wonderful. Thanks, Aaron. And gosh, thank all of y'all. Thank you, Patrick. It's been wonderful to be getting to know you from a distance, and I can't wait till we get to see you in real life.
Absolutely.
This series.
We're all gonna wear these shirts.
Yeah, he's got his purple shirt on. Yeah, I hope that anyone who tuned in particularly to see us sticks around. I've been watching these episodes and they're so
Exceptional.
incredible. They're so incredible, and I've been blown away by the talent and by the passion and everyone that I've seen who's appeared here. So thanks. It's a real honor to be included.
And Aaron did let me know that it is a weekly thing, and I believe they said that this week is the second to last, and next week is the last of what's been a really great run. But you can go back and watch the rest of the 8 prior and the next 2.
Yeah.
But they only planned on 6, so getting to 10 is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
And especially with zero budget, like they said.
Yeah. So,
Great.
oh yeah. We'll play, a tune about sticking together and being stronger together. Took our pants and our boots and set out for midnight. Our twirling tongues picking locks. And oh, what a true friend a lot, y'all.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Carolyn and Nate.
Yeah.
So, well, but you took me around the bend. I'm sitting there bawling.
Oh,
I
you sweetheart.
cannot believe that I'm going to be going on tour with you.
Oh, it's gonna be a blast. I can't believe it either. I can't wait.
It's going to be so good, and it's such.
I just bought a pedal steel, so it might be really fun.
Oh, surprise after surprise. Plus, you're a scientific smarty pants. Oh dear. Taking me
Giving
around.
some science lessons in between the sets.
I'm a video smarty pants. I make other people's science.
Ah,
He does the animation and
I
the
do animation stuff.
that's an important skill.
Now you're trying to pretend like you're not a science smarty pants. Nice try, Nate.
Well, thank you so much
So,
for being here, and I hope that we cross paths someday in a safer future.
Yes.
Me too. Thank you, Aaron.
A pleasure to
I'm
meet
gonna
you.
say, hey, we have a Zoom call. We have a Zoom call on Monday, right?
We do indeed.
So I'll see you there and then.
Yes, sir.
Sounds great. We'll see you soon.
Love you too much.
Yes.
Love you.
Au revoir. All right, Patrick. Next up, we've got La Lucha Cultural Collective with special guest Phantom Rouge. This includes an old friend of yours, Andre Powell. What can you tell me about these folks?
Oh, I think that we have we've got Cristo on the list next.
We do have Crystal on the
Oh.
list, but we take Andre first.
Oh,
What do you
that was
wanna
my
do?
mistake. I'm sorry.
Let's try and do Cristo if he's
Let's
ready.
do Cristo
Let's do
then.
Christos. Yeah. All right. My bad. Christo Barisevic. What can you tell me about this delightful person?
Plenty. This is my Cristo. Are you there? Oh, there
Hey.
you are, darling.
Hey, Patrick.
I miss you.
Hey, miss you too.
Uh,
Looking good. Although I'm sure you know that.
Oh, he
my
knows.
beauty is
He knows.
effervescent and eternal, remember?
Every day I wake up and I think I've still got my youth, but I'm not as pretty as Patrick, and I just don't know what to do.
Oh, well, enough about that. We're talking about you right now. So
Please.
Cristo is my really good friend. He lives in St. Louis, and he's part of my St. Louis Lavender Country gizmo. And we've been
Extended family.
on tour a few times. I even had the fortune or misfortune of getting in a car wreck with Cristo one night at 3:00 in the morning.
Accurate.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
To Des Moines. We
Part
needed
of tour life.
We needed to avoid a deer, which we did.
We did avoid the deer.
We did avoid a deer, but we didn't avoid the fence.
We were nearly upside down. I mean, we were, I think, literally upside down. Patrick, do you
Jeez.
remember what you said to me when I asked if you were okay?
I think I did. I think my glasses were all fallen off, and I had a big lump on my forehead from when the bag exploded, and I think I had a bloody nose.
This is all accurate, yeah.
And I think that there was like snot running everywhere.
And I said, Patrick, oh my God, like, are you okay? It was like the first thing that I said. And Patrick says,
my beauty is effervescent and eternal.
no, you said it don't crack. You said this beauty don't crack.
Anyway,
That's a good line.
we survived a car wreck and hours and hours and hours of conversation about
Oh my God, so many.
politics and the matriarchy. And
I feel like I got a second bachelor's degree just touring with Lavender Country. quite honestly.
Anyway, Chris is a fabulous musician, songwriter, singer, guitar player, and all manner of things musical. And for a while, and I guess still, Christo had his own recording outfit called Big Muddy Records. And he produces records when he's got nothing else to do. Darling.
It's been a while, TBH, but there's a lot out there, and a lot of the artists that were under the wing of Big Muddy are still doing their thing. And yeah, there's, as always, a lot of good stuff out there to find when it comes to music in St. Louis, for sure.
Well, you play a real role jettisoning other people into the stratosphere. But
Christos, why don't you play us a few songs? I'm
I'd love to,
excited
sure.
to hear you.
Right on. Cool. So I do want to start off by recalling Patrick's review of one of my bands. And I have this like kind of experimental country thing called Old Scratch's Burn Pile. I played Patrick a tape. Patrick, I think you said it sounded like a dying banshee and that it was horrible, but that you supported it. And that was all I was looking for. And I just wish that I had recorded you saying that at that moment so that I could make a song with it. But this first song is from that band. It's about I guess the fascist undertones and overtones of Hollywood culture, which kind of rules all entertainment and at least some section of the majority of our minds. And I spent a week or two there at some point many moons ago, just eating Rice Krispie treats and observing, and came up with this song. It's called White Convertible. White convertible rolling down Sunset Strip in the sunset, full of beautiful people who sleep at night in castles. They go up the hill to the conservatory, watch the sunset down on Sunset Strip, the sunset down on Sunset Strip. Everything contradictory will all fade with the light. All the hungry matters and shopping cart pushers have no home in this image of gold as the sun sets down on Sunset Strip. Sun sets down on Sunset. We are the chosen ones and we take what we want. Take it to the conservatory, watch the sunset down on Sunset Strip. We are chosen ones and we started out with what we deserve, beyond need of rank and file. Sun sets down on Sunset Strip. Sun sets down on Sunset Strip. Sun sets down on Sunset Strip. Right on. So there's a Bandcamp page called let's see, I guess oldscratchesburnpile.bandcamp.com, and you can go there. And there's also a really good soundbite collage where I've got Bill O'Reilly kind of interviewing Sun Ra. I don't know if you're familiar with Sun Ra. He was like a kind of abstract outer spacey jazz musician and hero of mine, and fighter for Black liberation as well. And so anyway, there's lots of fun stuff on there. Let's see here. Okay, so this next song was written on a tour with Lavender Country. It's a waltz. It was inspired by, I think we had gotten lost at some point, and the streets just kind of like didn't make sense, and the grid of the city had was broken rather by a diagonal street. And I think also Patrick was on some type of like political rant. And as Patrick and I mentioned before, so touring with Lavender Country, there's a lot of talk about a lot of different topics for real, but definitely social awareness and politics and how we can, try to make the world a better place. Be anti-fascist AF. But anyway, it was those times at the beginning of our Lavender Country experience I was a sponge. And Patrick, I'm very grateful to you for some of the education. And education is a huge part of fighting fascism. I definitely look to a lot of people that came before me and, pick up the lessons that have been learned. So we're not fighting the same battles over and over. So anyway, this song doesn't have a title, but it is in a 3/4 time. So you might want to change shoes okay. I have a resistance to it all sometimes, on the defense against lunar cycles, on one leg inside, visions of blood and moonlight. It feels like shame is all we have left. Yeah, man, shame about all we have left. Fractured geometry becomes my surroundings. Think fast and for yourself. Tapping into the way we think, and they drill at our spirits, sell it at low price, make boots of our skins and march at night, with arms and legs held stiff and high, step in right angles and stay in line, fracture the shapes and fracture the mind. I can't go back to those corners. In your arms, my heart felt stronger. Though there's fire inside, I don't want to leave yet. I have a resistance to it all. Sometimes I'm on the fence, up in all my cycles, on my knees inside. Blood and moonlight, it feels like shame is all we have left. shame about all we have left. Fractured geometry become my surroundings. Think fast and for yourself. Step in right angles and stay in line. Fracture the shapes, you won't fracture the mind. Crooked angles and crooked lines. Fracture the shapes, you won't. Cool. How y'all doing? What was I gonna do? Yes. Okay. So my friend gave me this. I think upcoming in one of the upcoming shows, there will be an act called the Electric Toothbrush Sisters. Highly recommend. One of them, the one with more of a political background, gave me this book. So everybody knows Richard Nixon was one of the best freedom fighters of all time, obviously. Very celebrated anti-fascist. Tricky Dick. So I thought this is just a wonderful collection of anti-fascist folk tales. We've got Dick the Snooper. Fantastic stuff right there. Cute jeans. We got Nixon whipping the Washington Monument over here. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, here we go. So I thought I would read Uncle Sam's Illness. I thought this was pretty representative of our wonderful healthcare system, where you get to go broke and get hurt at the same time. Very cool opportunity to really just experience life, like at the bottom. It's the American dream. So anyway, I thought I would read Uncle Sam's Illness. Okay. I'll show you some pictures too. When Dickie's Uncle Sam was ill and saved to pay the doctor bill, Dick took the money just for fun so he could buy a great big gun. But when he tried to shoot with it, the bullet bounced and he got hit. Poor Dick. Okay, so there's the picture. You can see him on the ground there. Fun times. Okay, so then the next page we got. You've shot yourself, his father said. We'll have to put you right to bed. The doctor came there pretty soon and made him swallow from a spoon. So there you've got Tricky Dick in the bed. He's sick. There he is. He's got his gunshot wound up there. Good stuff. And then he said he had to look at Dickie's tongue. And then he took the longest needle he could find and stuck it into Dick's behind. So this book's old. I'm sure there's some inappropriate nuance going on there. But fantastic picture. $10, Dick heard the doctor say, and poor Dick's father had to pay. And that's how it ends there with Big Dick having to pay. So it's just an allegory about all the opportunities we have here in America to really just get as broke as possible. Because we have basic needs. So, anyway. One way, right, to fight fascism is connection with our peers. At this point, you could say that fascism has been on the rise or whatever globally. But at the same time, even though we've been the land of the free or whatever. We've been pretty fascist for quite a while in a lot of other ways. And our culture, especially depending on your identity, can be very oppressive, and constantly so. And with that in mind, just getting through the day can be a lot for everybody. And so being able to make those connections across all your biases and to be in the present moment with other people is really what it's all about, I suppose. That's what they say. I don't know what it's all about. I'm kind of into well, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so this is a song about that, and it's on an album of mine that I made a few years ago with a band called The Strange Places, with some wonderful friends here and musicians here in St. Louis. So, alrighty. All that's left to do is bathe your wounds in the waning eye of the hours after midnight. Pain will ferment, it may bite and sting, but just let it. Girl's a healer and she knows what to do. Gather round your good friends, that's the porch for sitting. The break is an ache in some fifth dimension circuitry. Ever-present fire. Let this tincture ground the wire. I enjoy spending time with you. Let's do it again. Siren in distress, exhaustion, loneliness. Take comfort in this casual conversation. We'll go as deep as you want. It's a struggle shared by all of us. She's a dealer, lay it down. Gather round the table. That's a breeze worth shooting. The break is an ache in some infrastructure symmetry. We possess the fire. Let this tincture ground the wire. I enjoy spending time with you. Let's do it again. Let's walk down the state streets. Look for trouble like last year. I like to be around as memories unfold like pages of a scrapbook turning in my ear. Something special about nights that go unplanned. Something special about the worlds that overlap. Let's get that busted car and drive. Ain't no need to walk alone tonight. We who create will have our day as we make our way through the ruins of this life. that confines and restricts till we feel we've had our fill of it. It only fuels the fire. Now this tincture grounds the wire. I enjoy spending time with. Cool. So thank you for having me. You can get that at strangeplaces.bandcamp.com. These strange places, I mean, .bandcamp.com. But I see this is my last song, so I'll turn it back over. It's been great to be here. Patrick didn't give me an option. I do want to note that, Patrick, a little fascist of you, but that's okay. West Virginia, wait, no, Missoula. The Missoula friends are gonna have a lot of fun. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun. I'm jealous of my being able. If I could do my first Lavender Country tour all over again, I wouldn't heartbeat. But it's really good to be here digitally. And Patrick, it's been really good to see you being active and doing the series and everything. You're so young at heart. JB!
Thank you so much, Christo. Hey, JB. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you all for having me, and you're doing a great thing here. So much love. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank
I'll
you for
see you
bringing
when
such
I get
great
to St.
songs.
Louis. I'm coming back to St. Louis
Oh, yeah, when?
very soon.
Okay, great. Let's
And of
party.
course, we have to do a show. So,
Let's-
do you still have your lavender overalls?
I do. I absolutely do.
Perfect. You'll be perfect.
Cool.
Chris, it was great to meet you, and I hope that we too cross paths someday in a safer
Yeah.
future than this.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, I love your tunes, and you've got such a wonderful personality. Look forward to swapping stories and swapping tunes.
Nice. Very
someday.
cool. Right on. Thank you.
All right. Till next time. All right, Patrick. That was fantastic. You know some great folks around this country.
Yeah, I've run into a few. I know Chris. That Montana crew took me around the bend.
Well, next up, we've got the folks that I initially introduced. La Lucha Cultural with special guest Phantom Rouge, featuring your old friend Andre Powell, also Andrew Cancon. What can you tell me about these folks?
Well, I can't tell you everything because
I would never ask you to.
It's not all publishable. But Andre Powell is a political comrade of some 40 years. And we have done numerous political actions together. And he joins me in my Lavender Country shtick on the East Coast, doing his fabulous bass voice.
Awesome.
Andre has an incredible political history. And he's been hot shit in a lot of arenas.
I believe it.
Yeah,
What
like
kind of arenas?
like South Africa.
Damn.
Yeah, where he gave a big time speech and took down the house. And I don't know if he was in Johannesburg or where, but he's taken several trips to South Africa. He's been on the front lines. He he was involved in the very first creation of any queer liberation there was in Baltimore back in the day, like in 1969. Andre was strutting down the street in the front, and I could talk. Yeah, he's got a really, really rich political activist history, and he is a disciplined Marxist. Trotskyist, communist, revolutionary, and has been his whole life.
Hot damn. I look
He's-
forward to meeting him.
He's very humble, and he probably won't admit to any of this stuff that I told you, but it's all true. And he's a giant in the history of radical activism in Baltimore. Every radical who's ever been anywhere or done anything knows better than to mess with Andre Powell.
Sounds like a legend. I'm glad
He
to
is
have
a-
him.
Yeah,
Can we get them on the screen?
Yes, Andre, come on up.
Hello
Here's,
there. Good
his
evening.
friends, Andrew Concon and Phantom Rouge. And I haven't met Phantom Rouge yet, so looking forward to that. But whatever they do, I know it's going to be rip roaring political,
Heck yeah.
Marxist. I'm
Let's,
sure.
why don't y'all take it away? We were looking forward to hearing what you got.
All righty. Good evening, everybody. Gray Powell on the guitar is Andrew Khan, and we are Struggle La Lucha Cultural Collective. And this is our maiden performance, brand new. And we're so pleased to have with us our special guest, Phantom Rouge.
Hey guys, I think we lost your sound. Can you still hear us? Hello, hello.
Are you still there?
Okay,
There
we got
you
you
are.
now.
Start from the beginning, Andre.
We heard a little bit of your intro, but it cut out maybe 30 seconds ago.
Oh, okay.
Just
Hello,
start from-
good evening, everybody. My name is Andre Powell. On the guitar, here's Andrew Concon. We are in the Baltimore area, and we are Struggle La Lucha Cultural Collective. You can get more information about us on strugglelalucha.org. And we are pleased to have with us today our very special guest, Phantom Rouge. We're going to start off right now with a first song called Song of the United Front by Bertolt Brecht. We reached back into song books of olden times for today's concert. And just because he's a human, a man would like a little bite to eat. He won't get full on a lot of talk, and that won't give him bread and meat. So left 2, 3, so left 2, 3, to the work that we must do. March on in the Workers' United Front, for you are a worker too. And just because he's human, he doesn't want a pistol to his head. He wants no servants under him and no boss overhead. So left 2, 3, so left 2, 3, to the work that we must do. March on in the Workers' United Front, for you are a worker too. And just because he's a worker, no class can free him but his own. The emancipation of the working class is the task of the worker alone. So left 2, 3, so left 2, 3, to the work that we must do. March on in the Workers' United Front, for you are a worker too. for you are a worker too. Our next song comes from the Woody Guthrie Songbook. The words might sound a little familiar to you. We're glad to be here to sing it for you. I'm gonna tell you, fascists, you may be surprised. The people in this world are getting organized. You're bound to lose. You're fascists bound to lose. There's people of every nation marching side by side, marching across these fields where a million fascists died. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You're fascists bound to lose. Race hatred cannot stop us. This one thing I know. Your poll tax and Jim Crow. Greed have got to go. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. I'm going into this battle. Take my Union gun. We'll end this world of slavery before this battle's won. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. I said, oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. All righty, that Woody Guthrie. You know, when I was a child, they only told us Woody Guthrie was a folk singer. We didn't know he was an anti-fascist. This next song was written in Norfolk, Virginia during the 1973 U.S.-Israeli-Arab War. It was composed by Phil Wilato. It was included on a cassette that they made back in the 80s, as that's what they made, called Songs of Struggle. And he also has another compilation of Songs of Struggle 2. And those albums were performed by the All Peoples Singers, a group of revolutionary musical activists. And now, Palestine will be free. For 2,000 years we lived there in peace, Muslim, Christian, and Jew. Then the Zionists came, made us refugees, so we fight. What else can we do? 3 million and more outside Israel's door, where we live for the day of return. And though bitter the life, full of hardship and strife, we fight till the lesson is learned. That Palestine will be free. In the still of the night, when the moon gives no lights, fetty angels still through quiet lands. Into Israel they go to strike another blow, their guns in young bleeding hands. What do we want? Is it so hard to understand? Do they think they can beat us? Do they think that they can? With their American guns, American tanks, American money, and the Pentagon's thanks. What do we want? Is it so hard to understand? All they took All they took was our land. Palestine, Palestine, Palestine will be free. Gaza is Palestine, West Bank is Palestine, Galilee is Palestine, Beersheba is Palestine, Haifa is Palestine, Jaffa is Palestine, Jerusalem is Palestine. And the fight will continue so our homeland can be united, democratic, secular, and free. The fight will continue under the PLO. In our hearts we are fearless, for we know that Palestine will be free. Tremendous struggle of Palestine. It will be free. Now we're going to go back to the Woody Guthrie songbook. This one's called Tear the Fascists Down. There's a great and bloody fight round this whole world tonight, and the shrapnel, the bombs and shrapnel rain. Hitler told the world around he would tear our union down, but our union's gonna break them slavery chains. Our union's gonna break them slavery chains. I walked up on a mountain in the middle of the sky, could see every farm in every town. I could see all the people in this whole wide world. That's the union that'll bring those fascists down, down, down. That's the union that'll tear the fascists down. When I think of the men and the ships going down while the Russians fight on across the dawn, there's London in ruins and Paris in chains. Good people, what are you waiting on? Good people, what are you waiting on? So I thank the Soviets and the mighty Chinese vets, the Allies, the whole wide world around. To the battling British, thanks, you can have 10 million Yanks if it takes them to tear the fascists down, down, down. If it takes them to tear the fascists down. But when I think of the ships and the men going down and the Russians fight on across the dawn, there's London in ruins and Paris in chains. Good people, what are you waiting on? Good people, what are you waiting on? So I thank the Soviets and the mighty Chinese vets, the Allies, the whole wide world around. To the battling British, thanks, you can have 10 million Yanks if it takes them to tear the fascists down, down, down. If it takes them to tear the fascists down. This next song just touches my heart. The hymn of the Soviet Union. United forever in friendship and labor, our mighty republic will ever endure. the great Soviet Union who lived through the ages, the dream of a people, the fortress secure. Long live our Soviet motherland, built by the people's mighty hand. Long live our people, united and free, strong in our friendship, tried by fire. Long may our crimson flag inspire, shining in glory for all men to see. Through days dark and stormy, where great Lenin led us, our eyes saw the bright sun of freedom above, and Stalin, our leader, with faith in the people, inspired us to build the land that we love. Long live our Soviet motherland, built by the people's mighty hand. Long live our people, united and free, strong in our friendship, tried by fire. Long may our crimson flag inspire, shining in glory for all men to see. We fought the future, destroyed the invaders, and brought to our homeland the laurels of fame. Our glory will live in the memory of nations. All generations will honor her name. Long live our Soviet motherland, built by the people's mighty hand. Long live our people, united and free, strong in our friendship, tried by fire. Long may our crimson flag inspire, shining in glory for all men to see.
Okay.
And now I'd like to introduce our special guest, Phantom Rouge.
Hi, everybody. The next two songs are going to be in Tagalog. The first one is called Marcha ng Bayan, which means March of the People. And in keeping with the anti-fascist theme, it is calling all progressive classes and sectors in Philippine society to unite to defeat fascism and imperialism. Manggagawa at magsasaka, kabataan at profesional, mga alagad ng simbahan, negosyante at pinunong makabayan, tayo na at magkapit-bisik, tapusin ang daan-taong pananahimik. Panahon na upang ang ating tinig ay marinig sa buong daigdig. Tayo na at magsama-sama sa pagturog sa imperialista. Tayo na at magkaisa, lansangin ang pasistang diktadura. Nasa ating ang tunay na lakas, tiyak nasa atin ang bukas. Manggagawa at magsasaka, kabataan at profesional, mga alagad ng simbahan, negosyante at pinunong makabayan, Tayo na at makapigpisik, tapusin ang daan taon pananahimik. Panahon na upang ang ating tinig ay marinig sa buong daigdig. Tayo na at magsama-sama sa pagdurog sa imperialista. Tayo na at magkaisa, lansangin ang pasistang diktadura. Nasa ating ang tunay na lakas, tiyak nasa atin ang bukas. Tayo na at magkaisa, isulong ang pambansang demokrasya. The next song is called Tatsulok, and it's basically saying that the answer to fascism in the Philippines is to invert that triangle, invert that unjust system which has the few ruling over the many. Totoy, bilisan mo ang takbo. Ilagan ng mga bomba nakatutok sa ulo mo. Totoy, tumalun ka, tumapa kung kailangan, at pagkatamaan pa ng mga balang ligaw. Totoy, makinig ka, wag nang mapagabi. Pagkapakamalan pa't humandusay dyan sa tabi. Totoy, alam mo ba kung ano ang puno dulo na di matapos-tapos na kaguluhan ito? Hindi pula't dilaw, tunay na makalaban. Ang kulay at tatak ay di siyang dahilan. Hanggat mas marami ang lukmok sa kahirapan, at ang hustisya ay para lang sa mayaman. Habang may tatsulok at silang nasa tuktok, hindi matatapos itong gulo. Lumiligtas ang hininga ng kairaming mga tao. Ang dating lunting bukid ngayon sa milo. Totoy, kumilos na baliktarin na slog. Katulad mong mga dukha, ilagay mo sa tuktok. Hindi pula't dilaw, tunay na makalaban. Ang kulay at tatak ay di siyang dahilan. Hanggat mas marami ang lukmok sa kahirapan, at ang hustisya ay para lang sa mayaman. Habang may tatsulok at silang nasa tuktok, hindi matatapos itong gulo. Hindi pula't dilaw, tunay na makalaban. Ang kulay at tatak ay di siyang dahilan. Hanggat mas marami ang lugmok sa kahirapan, at ang hustisya ay para lang sa mayaman. Habang may tatsulok at silang nasa tuktok, hindi matatapos itong gulo. Habang may tatsulok at silang nasa tuktok, hindi matatapos itong gulo. And the last song we're singing because it is the 150th anniversary of the Paris Commune. And many of us, well, yeah, are still looking and hoping for that better world. Arise, you workers, from your slumbers. Arise, ye prisoners of want, for reason in revolt now thunders, and at last ends the age of cant. Away with all your superstitions, servile masses, arise, arise. We'll change henceforth the old tradition, hence burn the dust to win their prize. So comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. So comrades, come rally, and the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race.
Arise, ye prisoners of starvation. Arise, ye wretched of the earth. For justice thunders condemnation. A better world's in birth. No more tradition chain shall bind us. Arise, ye slaves, no more enthralled. The earth shall rise on new foundations. We have been not, we shall be all. 'Tis the final conflict. Let each stand in their place. The International Party shall be the human race. 'Tis the final conflict. Let each stand in their place. The International Party shall be the human race.
No more deluded by reaction. On tyrants only will make war. The soldiers too will take strike action. They'll break ranks and fight no more. And if those cannibals keep trying to sacrifice us to their pride, they soon shall hear the bullets flying. It will shoot the generals on their side. Ito'y huling paglalaban, magkaisa ng masaklaw ng internasyonal ang sangkatauhan. Ito'y huling paglalaban, magkaisa ng masaklaw ang internasyonal ang sangkatauhan.
And we thank you from the Struggle La Lucha Cultural Collective, and a special thanks to our special guest, Phantom Rouge.
Thank you all so much. That was fantastic. I don't think I've ever heard a song in Tagalog before. Thank you, Phantom Rouge, for sharing that.
I told you it'd be Marxist.
that was about as Marxist as it gets. Woo! Spicy.
Absolutely. We pull no punches.
I can tell. And thank you for bringing up the subject of Palestinian liberation. As a person who was raised Jewish, it took me a long time to wake up to the situation in Israel, and I stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people in their search for return to their homeland.
Thank you. Thanks. Glad to have you on board.
Yeah. It's really great to meet y'all, and I hope that we get to cross paths someday in a safer future.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
I'll see you soon, Andre, and the rest of you too.
Okay.
What an honor to
Alrighty.
have you.
Thank you for having us.
Ciao, struggle. Until next time.
Struggle la lucha.
All right, Patrick. It's come to our last act of the show, and this is a very special sort of presentation, if I'm not mistaken. We've got Janine Bertram, Naomi Stein, and Tom Olin. Why don't you tell me something about these folks?
They're movers and shakers. Each of them and all of them. They are leaders in the disability rights movement. And we have to remember that Hitler went after this crew first.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as then, they are threatened more than we can imagine. But they're going to help us imagine. So it's Janine Bertram, Naomi Stein, and Tom Olin, all of them militant fighters in the disability rights movement. I don't know how long Naomi's been involved, probably a long time, but Janine and Tom have been involved in this movement my whole life.
Wow. So that's what, 40 years?
I wish. Ever since I've met them anyway, for decades, all of them have been on the front lines. They know what they're talking about, and they're going to talk to us. This is a vocal presentation, not a musical presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be really good. So I want you all to know we're running a little behind time, but we don't care. Take as much time as you need. Do your whole complete thing. We're here to the end.
Yeah, come on board. Let's see you.
And Janine, you might have your camera on. We don't have Janine's video yet.
Oh, there we go.
There we are.
Welcome in.
Hello, Janine. Hello, Tom.
Hi. And Naomi's right here too. It's just we can't quite get three in the phone, I don't think, there.
That's all right.
Um,
We'll make it work.
okay.
Definitely.
Anyway,
All right. Take it away.
will do, and thank you. And what a great last act you had there. La Lucha.
Mm-hmm. Struggle la lucha.
Take it away after hearing the International. It always makes me cry. But anyway, we wanted to talk about how in the United States, one in every 5 people has a disability, and that really few people in the anti-fascist movements or progressives recognize the oppression and recognize what ableism is. So I think Tom will be talking about that in a little while, showing his photos. But I wanted to tell you about Laura Hershey, who was a great poet who died a few years back. And I was going to just read you a couple of the things that she wrote to give you an idea of kind of the framework of the disability movement. And the first one is called The Shamanists of the Crip Revolution. The shamaness of the Crip Revolution believes in the magic of activism. Her tools are a tape measure to check out doorway widths and toilet stalls, and a telephone with which she can organize a protest on 24 hours notice. Her goals, nothing less than access and total liberation. I think I've got one of Tom's photos of Laura's that hopefully Jack will show later, but I also wanted to read her poem called In the Way, which is often how the public sees us, at least people with mobility disabilities. Could you move, the waitress says, politely, of course. You're in the way. A common request. My trusted wheelchair, just an impediment, an obstacle to the busy, a clumsy roadblock. I haul with me down every road, and when parked, an interruption, or at least a slowing down of the life I only wish to be part of. A piece of surplus furniture in the already crowded rooms of restaurants, bars, and theaters. Usually I accommodate, backing into corners, turning sideways, angling my wheels to leave a clear path, asking, politely of course, is that far enough? I get in the way without trying. I apologize, excuse myself, and move out of the way. But not today. Today I listen to a small, recalcitrant voice that insists such power should not be wasted. If I alone can be so much and so often in the way, if I can create such worry among wait persons, such consternation in concert halls, such alarm in the aisles of grocery stores, just imagine the aggravation a dozen or 24 or 300 people using wheelchairs can cause people who would rather not see our needs or hear our demands or acknowledge our rights. Just imagine. Better yet, see me now. See me block this doorway, plant my wheels firm. See me lock my brakes. No, I tell some bureaucrat who wants to get into his office so he can make decisions about my life. No, I will not turn. I will not move over. I will not get out of your way. Not until the police order me to, under threat of arrest. And maybe not even then. In the way all day. I woman this barricade, which is mine. So those are a couple of Laura Hershey's writings. And now I want to bring Tom in, and hopefully some of his photos are going to go up. Because Tom has been documenting in photography the disability movement for 35 years, I think.
At least.
Uh-huh. And now Patrick was mentioning Hitler. Hitler killed, what, 250,000 people with disabilities? And over 200,000 disabled people have died in nursing homes. And it's not just older people in nursing homes, but everybody in a nursing home is disabled. People of all ages.
And we're doing it. We've done it in 1 year. Well, it took Hitler a few years to kill all of us.
I'm sorry. That's okay.
I do have to welcome all our anti-fascist comrades. Because one of the biggest things that we're fighting is corporate fascism in the disability world. Because when you think about and different places and different disabilities, it's always the beds that they count. It's the money that the beds represent. In the nursing homes, it's the beds. In the psychiatric hospitals, it's the beds. In the group homes, it's the beds. In detention centers, they talk about the beds. You know, it's something in all of those places. It's the corporates who makes the money off of the beds. And so it is something that we are fighting and we are dying for to get out of those places. In the photos that you'll be seeing, you know, after we have won the ADA, our civil rights movement, here's a picture of Laura Hershey that Janine had the wonderful poems about from. And here we can start. This is a after the after the ADA was signed. One of the things that we did we're going after were the nursing homes. You know, after you win something, you still have people that are locked up. Yeah, that can't use the civil rights at all to get out. And we're trying to get the people out. We want the people out. And here you have a picture in Nashville, Tennessee, with a group of people. They're in front of a Medicaid office.
Nursing homes are like jail. No one wants to live in a nursing home.
And it affects everybody.
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about nursing homes only. We're also talking about all congregate facilities, psych homes, group homes, prisons. We need to shut the front door.
This is outside of the Hubert Humphrey building, which is HUD. And there we're trying to make sure that we have housing out there and not housing in a nursing home. And here you have a sign, of course, saying, are any of your loved ones in nursing homes? Well, they are dying if they are. And then you see one of our iconic flags, disability flag right there. And here's the same sign again. This is outside the same building. We did get, you know, DC is a target. You know, during the fight for the ADA, over 1,500 people were disabled people were put in jail, arrested. And since then, we have over 3,500 people that have been arrested in the fight for our homes and not nursing homes. So it's something that, this is from a group called ADAPT. These are people from all different geographical places in the United States, very diverse and different disabilities, different races, different religions, and they all come together. A lot of them have lived in nursing homes. A lot of them have lived in psychiatric facilities, and a lot of them are just on either supplemental income or just disability income. And they some of them actually go out and with a hat in hand get actually to pay their way to these protests. This is in Atlanta, Georgia, in front of the federal building. A couple of people that are from People First that are with the ADAPT group. They feel it a lot. They have been institutionalized, and they are dying. And COVID hits people with disabilities very, very much, because of their sometimes it's just with conditions that they already have. Sometimes it's just the immune system. And that is why we have, between each state of the COVID deaths, is between 40 and 60% of those deaths are people in congregate settings. And that's why, I mean, you would think that they would say, hey, maybe congregate settings is not a good place. Maybe that should be a public health measure, as a preventive mitigating way to save people. But we have not gotten that before. We're luckier than a lot of other countries in the sense that we don't have in a lot of other countries in these congregated settings. There are sex trade. There are a lot of abuse. There's still a lot of abuse here in the United States. I mean, I call it abuse when you're not allowed to take a shower when you want to take a shower. That's happening in every congregate setting here in the States.
When you don't have access to a telephone.
A lot of them don't have, right? They cannot ask if something is wrong. A lot of them cannot have that accessibility to reach out to advocate for themselves. This is Lee, who is out of Atlanta. Oh, actually, yeah, he's out of Atlanta. This is at the Social Security Administration building in Baltimore.
I just want to add that Tom Olin's photos have been displayed at the Kennedy Center, many galleries. He's been in many magazines and books, and so you're getting to see a great show here.
There'll also be a group of photos that were taken in Chicago, as you can see, the police with their iconic hats, checkered hats. This was at a Secretary of Health and Human Services, Sullivan, was speaking. And this is one of the things is a lot of persons with disabilities, especially with mobility, one of the things they can do is crawl. So as you can see, they are crawling underneath the barricades. And many of the protests, it's very hard to stop a person with disabilities, no matter what they do and how they try to stop us, as you can see. And we're also at the same time in Chicago, we hit the American Medical Association because they wanted to have very expensive people that come in, help you. If you did get out of a nursing home, they wanted to have nurses come in and give you a pill when you could take the pill yourself, or your attendant could, or you could catheterize. Many people can even catheterize you, but they wanted a nurse to do that. And so we had to fight the American Medical Association on that front. We did win on that front.
And actually, we have developed models, or I have not, but people in the movement, people with disabilities have developed models so that people can live in our own homes and communities, and we don't need to have these institutions.
Yeah, when we started this fight 30 years ago, 20% of people were being able to live in the community, and 80% of the money was going to was going to nursing homes, and that has changed, but not enough. It has changed from I think it's 60-40 now. But that still means that there could be a lot more. There's no reason to have people living in congregated settings. They're so un-American. It's you lose your rights, and there's no reason to. The only reason there are people there is to make money off of them, and I forgot all the other things. There's so many different reasons. But it's still the fight right now. I mean, even though you might heard where they have putting this godly amount of money into the home and community-based services, but you'll watch what happens. It will be the corporations that will take that money and they'll rig up some kind of a system so they can make the money off of the people.
It won't be independent living. It will be restrictive.
This was at the state building in Chicago. Some of the offices were up, I think, 17 floors. And so there was like the escalators and there were stairs. And here's people going up the escalator, dragging up. They shut down the escalator. You know, that's what they always try to stop you, but it's very interesting that we still will go up. They just think that wheelchairs, have to stop wherever if they can. I've seen it where they will stop in the middle, block a march, and then have all the cop cars and then all what the people will do is just use the sidewalks, which the cars can't get up to. So. Always a way to get around the police.
If you're in one of these institutions and you look at who lives there, you'll find that it's not rich white people. It's usually people of color, people who are poor, people who think they have no other option. And so in the disability movement, there's a whole system throughout the United States of what's called Centers for Independent Living. And one of their core services is to transition people out of institutions and into the community setting with supports and services.
And Janine is so right. It is the racial disparities in these places are very great. And the equity is not there, and it's hidden. Once you put people into these institutions, it's out of sight, out of mind, and that means that the community that all these people could be living into, are not given to people that are in these institutions. And a lot of it is because the public think that they should be, for one, and there's no access. Actually, so many of people. Especially when you don't have enough money and you go to the hospital, it's almost a tunnel, a pathway that the doctor will say, well, do you have a house that's accessible? I see you have a broken ankle. And they might say no. Well, you need to go to a nursing home. You get to a nursing home, then they start drugging you. And then they'll say, well, when you ask, can I go home now? No, you're on drugs. So you can't go home. And in some cases, they try to take your house away from you. I mean, there are many, many things that are hidden in this. And you've got to realize that they're not mom and pop nursing homes. These are corporations. These are corporations that are multi-million dollar, billion, I shouldn't say million, $billion businesses.
And we're nothing but crops, just to be harvested by them so they can make money. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite pictures. This is a friend that is blind, and he is being dragged by the policeman. And over on the left, you'll see his CNI dog watching on. And his attendant. This is at after the escalators. You had to climb the other 15 stories, and people did make it.
Mm.
And they did get the meeting that they were going for. Another police barricade. Another line of disabled. And this is Diane Coleman in the middle, shouting her distaste. And she also runs a group called Not Dead Yet. There's a Texan in Chicago that is being arrested.
So we're all quite dedicated to freeing our people. And so when you think about anti-fascism and organizing, don't forget about ableism and that 1 in every 5 people has a disability. Okay. No, yeah, but he's still going through the pictures. A lot of crawling under barricades.
And during this pandemic in Chicago, which is kind of funny. Oh, not so funny, I guess. But residents were so scared because people were dying in these places that they were escaping. They were actually escaping from the nursing homes and going into hotel rooms, you know, and the state was trying to find those people that were actually escaping so they could give them services. But you know, it's a failed system. It's a failed system that, if you can imagine corporate running a facility and having laws that they can have 2 staff or 1 staff person to care for, I think it's 42 patients. And that's, you know, that's it could be even more. I mean, it's an ungodly thing. That's how they make money.
And during the CARES Act, nursing homes were given an extra $2 billion, and they hired, at least all the research that we've done, we haven't found anybody extra that they hired to take better care of people in the nursing homes. But at least in Washington State, the CEO of one chain got a $5 million bonus.
2 months after they got the millions of dollars, they the deaths in nursing homes rose.
Mm-hmm.
Before COVID, 82% of nursing homes, and this is statistics by the GOA, had infectious citations. So it's a safe, unsafe place to begin with. And when you deal with a pandemic, then it makes it even worse. And the thing is this will not be the last pandemic. You ask any infectious disease researcher, they'll tell you that this is just the start of infectious diseases coming around and pandemics. So is this going to happen again? Are we going to go through the same things? You know, so we're definitely, the abolition of these places should be one of the priority for a lot of people. It definitely is for us.
And like Tom's photo says there, never surrender.
And we won't. Yep. Even if they push it down to the ground.
Like the police are doing.
We will rise. And
Is
there are
this Washington, D.C.?
there are movements around the country that are, I call them relocation, where we are trying to get people out of those settings. And then, even though there are civil rights laws that we use, they are very slow, very, very slow. And they were they were put into the law knowing that too. So a lot of our laws we have to really actually have new cases to actually make them stronger.
No enforcement.
So this is in a Senate building office. There's all different ways of nonviolent civil disobedience. This is at the Healthcare Financing Administration in Baltimore. This person was from a nursing home. Was from actually, if you ever saw a movie, Will You Remember Me, featuring Ellen Burstyn, God, all the people, really a pretty interesting cast. And the movie was about people getting out of a institution. And a lot of those people behind are from institutions. A Tennessean who got out of an institution and watched his fellow. He still knows of people that are back in the institution that are dying.
Okay,
well, that's a little history. That's our history after ADA, after our fight for ADA that is still going on. That group, a lot of that group was the ADAPT group, and they. This year was a little different. There was a little demonstrations citywide at different places around, but usually we have civil disobedience. We get together of people from 200 to 500 people that will march on the city and face jail and face the city police wherever we go.
You might have actually seen it when there were many people. I think Rachel Maddow on MSNBC covered a lot of people in ADAPT getting arrested when we were fighting for the Affordable Care Act and took over Mitch McConnell's office. Anyway, we are going to say thank you and pass you on to Naomi Stein. You ready?
Yeah.
Here, let me just take that.
Okay. Hello. My name is Naomi Finkelstein, really. And let's see. I'm going to talk about disability and eugenics and fascism and how everything the Nazis did, they learned from the United States. So the one of the definitions of fascism is rule by corporations. And in the Gilded Age of the United States, so when all the robber barons were were coming to power, like the Rockefellers and the Carnegie and J.P. Morgan, there was in fashion this line of thought that came from Darwin, but is different than Darwin. So it's about it's called social Darwinism, connected to a person named Sir, I want to say Francis Galton, Galton. And he and also a person named Spencer, last name Spencer. And they together sort of married the idea of survival of the fittest, which Darwin himself never said, and the idea that government should not intervene to prevent survival of the fittest. So they sort of thought that they were rich because they were better than everybody else genetically, and that people who were rich or people who had certain characteristics should be selected out, bred in, basically, for survival, and everybody else should be left to die. So, because government interference made us all weaker. So we see this happened in the late 1800s, and we see how that's influenced what's currently going on. And the lines that we get about trickle down theory, basically, if there's a meritocracy and people who become rich because they're better than everybody else, and everybody else basically should go fuck themselves. And the government should not interfere with the market to help poor people. But the thing about it all is that most poor people are working their asses off to make the wealth for the very rich. And so if in fact it's about being stronger, certainly the poor are stronger. So I see this. So when you combine these two things, and many people thought that social Darwinism was the way to go back in the day, including my beloved, I'm sorry to say, Emma Goldman, thought that disabled children should be aborted. So it was very influential in the forming of what we think of as modern day capitalism. So, the Rockefellers were the people who sort of invented, or not the Rockefellers, but John Rockefeller sort of invented the idea of monopolies. And Carnegie, despite the fact, I never had bad feelings about Carnegie. I grew up in New York, Carnegie Hall, Carnegie libraries. What could possibly be wrong with Carnegie? All believed that basically, if you were poor and you got sick, or if you were injured at work, you should die. So here we are, let alone what the Nazis did. We, the United States, sterilized many Native American women and many Puerto Rican women as late as the 1970s. And certainly, people who were developmentally disabled were put in terrible places, like Willowbrook, for instance. And of course, our elders are often put in nursing homes. And during this current, I don't know what to call it, like horrible pandemic, we're seeing the roots of all this sort of come home to roost. So slowly but surely, our public health system has been decimated. So when it came time to test people, we had to reinvent the wheel. When it came time to getting the vaccinations out, we had to reinvent the wheel because the public health system was really not functional. You know, in the early 1900s, when there was yellow fever and tuberculosis in the tenements, visiting nurses used to come to the tenements and help people clean, help people who were sick. And we don't have visiting nurses now. This is a mistake because you can best serve people where they live. And when I was first trying to get the vaccine, even though I was a fairly high, I don't know, I was like 1B, I could get it. People were running around trying to get who gets to be first, in the vaccination line. And I said to my public health doctor, why isn't public health department, where I go to the clinic, making sure that the people who most need the vaccine get the vaccine? And it's because our public health clinics were, so broken as to become dysfunctional. And then finally, they gave the vaccines to the public health clinic for one time, and I got to go to the public health clinic and get vaccines. But until then, they wanted me to rush to where Native Americans were being targeted to get vaccines, or where Black elders were being targeted to get vaccines, because those were the people who were most getting affected. And I just refused. And here's my major point, if I have a point to make in all this. It's that the left asks too little. And what I mean is, we need to be demanding universal health care, obviously. But also, we need to be demanding that our public hospitals and our public health systems be reinvigorated. And we need to be talking about the fact that if we're going to send people from nursing homes, there needs to be visiting nurses and doctors who actually come to your house. In my lifetime, look at me, I don't look too old. In my lifetime, doctors used to come to your house. So we need to be talking about those things again. And I don't feel like we need to reinvent fire every time there's going to be a pandemic, because there is already going to be a lot of pandemics. And there's already systems that we could make work and demand that they be made to work. So that's one of the things. And the other thing was, when FDR was in office and he decided we were going to make, I forget the number, I'm going to make up a number, 1 million planes in like 4 years. The factories in 4 years' time reconfigured to make those planes. We did not do that in terms of our public health system and in terms of making those vaccines. Where there's a will, there's a way. I just don't honestly think there was a will, because what the hell, it's only those old people or those sick people, and they're not really productive. And then if we make it impossible for people to quit their jobs because they're too dangerous, those frontline workers, there's plenty more of them, because we're not giving them a real public assistance or a national guaranteed income. So we don't really have to take care of them either. And here's the thing. I don't know about you all, but I refuse to compete with other people about healthcare. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to run ahead of people who are 70 years old and Native American to try to get a shot. We are not asking for enough if that's what we think, but we've been trained to compete against each other by the system of eugenics and non-government interference. I'm an economist, and this is how social Darwinism affected economics, which has affected all our health. The next thing I'll say is that we need to be asking ourselves what really creates health in our lives. It's not only access to drugs, it's having a life that's worth living. My mother was in a nursing home. I didn't have any say in it. She just was in a nursing home. And she was stuck in her room by herself with Alzheimer's for a year. That's like, being in solitary confinement. And she has lost so much mental capacity as a result of that. So what makes me, I'm going to say, I live in a very nice house, seeing people occasionally. I have nice cats. And I'm just saying that I went crazy. This is no way to live. We need better ways to make sure. The Yaqui Nation made sure, they said they assigned elders to every family, elders and children to every family, so that the future was there with the past. And so they could inform each other. And that every family who was registered got an elder. And every family that was registered got kids, and they influenced each other. I'll say this last thing, which is as a response to social Darwinism and Darwinism in general, Peter Kropotkin wrote a thesis on mutual aid, because he said that it wasn't survival of the fittest that was going to get us through. It was cooperation and sharing with one another. And I think this is where you could see how white supremacy sneaks its little way. Like, the whole idea is we're all supposed to get by ourselves, and we're not supposed to have real community with each other, when this has never worked. And for the most part, most communities didn't work that way. Even Ashkenazi Jews, who now pretty much exist as white people, used to have real communities with each other. And if you were sick, the ladies came and helped you. Boy, did they help you. And they cleaned your house within an inch of itself. And they came and they brought food. And you got to hang out with people. Like, we used to have communities. And mutual aid was the answer. And mutual aid differs from charity, because the basic premise of it, the social contract of it, is not you do for me and therefore I do for you. It's we are going to help each other get through what we're going to get through. And just because I give to you doesn't mean you have to give to me. My giving to you is giving something to myself. Different. And so I think we need to be thinking about how we want to go forward from this place in the pandemic. Going back to normal, I'm not up for it. Going back to a place where I've seen some miracles of mutual aid during this time. There's people who give out books, and the farmers in South Seattle, man, they were giving tons of produce away. I used to work as a counselor, And I ate better during this year of not working, being sick, and um, the farmers providing me with food. And then I started saving food when the orange guy got in, and I started cooking for people, my houseless neighbors. And so once a week, I would go out and bring soup and sandwiches to people, or soup and burritos to people. And that's what I was doing. And other neighbors were doing the same. Let's see. I got so many masks because all these people in my neighborhood were sewing masks, and they all would come and drop it off to me. Let's see. Our electricity went out, and people rushed to my house to make sure I was okay, and make sure they could bring my medicine, my very expensive refrigerated medicine, to their houses so the medicine wouldn't go bad. In California, I know there was whole initiatives of people making sure people had solar powered generators, right? And who were like shopping for people, and who were just giving people money because they had it and the other people didn't have it. I'm convinced that we need a few things to go ahead. We need to do away with the idea that the market's going to take care of us, because the market never was meant to take care of us. That's the first thing. And the second thing we need to be doing is, and rebuild a stronger government safety net. So that's the first thing. And the second thing that we need to be doing, and by that I mean like public health, visiting nurses, doctors who come do visits, I don't know, like a lot of things, attendants who are taken care of and made sure that they don't get sick, so they can come and help take care of us, and who get decent salaries. I don't know. And then the second thing we need to be doing, and remember from this experience, is that we need to be taking care of each other. Not because we're being good guys, because that's useless. That'll only last a little while. But because that's the way we're supposed to live. I don't know. I had grandparents who who were there during the Depression, and I learned a few things. One is never throw out a plastic container. My grandmother had 10 million plastic containers, but she saved things. And she saved things because she knew the value of taking care of little things, so then you didn't have to spend the money on plastic Tupperware, for instance. And the second thing was, if my grandmother had a lot of brothers and sisters, and if ever somebody needed a place to live, they lived in my grandmother's house. I mean, this was not even ever talked about. You just came and you lived in my grandmother's house. And my father would give over his bed and sleep on the floor, and you would sleep in his bed. That's the way it was. We need to be doing that kind of thing now, again, with each other, in my opinion. And we need not to let the government ever get to a place again where there's hurricanes and tornadoes and whatever, and they are letting thousands of people die. 3,000 people in Puerto Rico was the precursor, I assure you, of the pandemic deaths. So that's my spiel. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you all so much for sharing your stories with us.
Well,
Thank you, Patrick and Tom and Aaron. It's just a wonderful program. Naomi, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay,
All
Thank
right.
you. That
take
was
care.
Bye-bye.
Hold
so
on.
much. You brought so much light. So much light into our little anti-fascist program.
Thank you. Yes, for reminding us that the struggle for disability liberation is tied up with all of our liberation.
Good. Thanks. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now. Well, Patrick, it's come to the end of another fantastic program.
Yeah, it was real. There were some juicy spots.
Yeah, it
in
got real
today's-
spicy in there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again to Carolyn Keys and Nate Beal, to Andre Powell and Andrew Concon and Phantom Rouge, to Christo Barisevic, Janine Bertram, Naomi Stein, and Tom Olin, all of our lovely presenters and performers this week. And thank you, Patrick, for bringing them together.
Yeah. It was a hot sketch.
Yeah. And next week is our last scheduled anti-fascist live stream. So feel free to tune in. Same anti-fascist time, same anti-fascist channel. And if you have some extra dollars, feel free to drop them in our little tip jar, which is my PayPal, paypal.me/AaronJShay. And it'll go all to the presenters and performers today. And thanks as well to Jack, who's been running the sound and tech. Always the backbone of this production. And that's all I've got to say. Patrick, do you want to send us off with any sort of message?
Well, here's the thing. We might be back. You know, we might be back. And the other thing that I have to say is, you don't need to wait for us. You all can do your own anti-fascist concert series online.
That's true.
It's not that hard. You keep the ball rolling. We do have one more show next week, and then we need to lighten up for a minute and get back into the rest of our lives. But I don't think we're done, Aaron.
I think you're right, Patrick. I think the struggle continues on. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see y'all next week. Until then, stay strong, stay safe, and organize your communities. Good night.